Yesterday, at time of recording, the new Harry Potter trailer was released from HBO Max, and so I thought I would give it a watch. I grew up reading the books, like many people my age, and I've got to admit, I'm not overly excited for this. But I thought I'd watch the trailer and give it a go. So, without further ado, straight off the bat, I just want to say HBO are like the kings of TV shows, aren't they? You know, Sopranos, The Wire, Game of Thrones. They're the ones that kind of really brought about this second. Would you call it a second golden age of TV, or just the golden age of TV? You know, they've brought us those awesome shows that really reinvented TV in the sort of early 2000s, and it's kind of basically it was what sparked off like the Netflix binge culture of, like, you know, just basically giving us Hollywood blockbuster style films, but putting 20 of them together and making a TV show. And so HBO, there's not going to be anyone based off their track record that could do this as well as they could, but maybe nobody could. I don't know. Let's watch on.
I told you. You are a normal boy. And you're going to start acting like one.
It's weird to say, but Harry Potter is one of those. It's a kid's show or a kid's book, and the films I think were a bit too kiddie, if you know what I mean. They're a bit too kid orientated, but that was their audience, you know. And so I wonder who the target audience for this series will be, because at the minute this looks really gritty, you know, quite adult, if you know what I mean. And obviously the sort of target audience for this, I imagine, will be people that loved the books, or not necessarily the books, but maybe the films. I don't know. Basically people sort of my age that have kids, because this doesn't really feel like a kid's show right now.
You think you're something special? There is nothing special.
I mean, Harry Potter is kind of a dark story, isn't it? I mean, he straight off the bat, he loses his parents when he's a baby. So he never knows his parents, and he never really knows love or affection, apart from, like, you know, passers-by in the street. So that's what we're sort of told in the books. Like he never has anybody or loves anyone, shows him love or anything like that. And when you think about that, like that's quite a tragic story for a kid to have to grow up in that kind of environment. Yeah, really sad. And so I'm not sure that's ever really been accurately portrayed. The Daniel Radcliffe films in particular, I don't think they really got that across. It felt a bit too camp, a little bit too, I don't know. I think they were a bit too flippant with it. They kind of made his aunt and uncle look a bit like just mean parents, but like just mean, not like they bloody hated him. And they do in the books, and it looks like they do here. And it's a little bit, again, I'm just wondering who the target audience will be. I imagine it's going to be parents I imagine they're going to want parents to watch this with their kids. I don't know.
About you.
I've always wanted to know about my parents.
Your parents were the kindest, bravest people I ever met. They were funny and clever.
See, that's my first real gripe. I mean, I grew up watching Spaced. I was a big Nick Frost fan. I mean, I've watched all of his films and stuff. And I grew up, you know, I just sort of came of age, as it were, when, you know, Shaun of the Dead and that kind of thing was released, and it made them massive stars. I liked Shaun of the Dead and I liked Hot Fuzz, but I never really loved it. I never really got why people really loved it. Do you know what I mean? They're good, they're fun, but for me, they're not amazing. Whereas I really loved Spaced, which was the sitcom that sort of launched Nick Frost.
Have you ever done this before?
You could say that.
What do you mean?
Let's just say the last time I was in this situation, wasn't using a paintball gun.
You've seen combat?
Yes, I have.
Where?
On the television.
You just said that the last time you were in this situation, you didn't use a paintball gun.
He didn't.
What did you use?
It was a big stick.
I think the biggest problem for me with this Harry Potter series is the cast. Not so much Harry and Ron. I think they kind of look like Harry and Ron, although it's going to be difficult for people that grew up with the books and the films to separate anyone that plays Harry Potter to Daniel Radcliffe. I think they're all going to suffer from that bit, apart from Ron Weasley, who just, the boy that plays him in the HBO series, I think looks like Ron Weasley as well. I don't know. Maybe it's just my interpretation of what the boy would look like from reading the books. But Nick Frost here does not look like Hagrid to me. He doesn't sound like Hagrid. And the problem is that because Robbie Carlyle played him so well in the films, and he was such a titan of sort of British acting, he had that larger than life character, which I don't think Nick Frost does. And Hagrid is a really important character because he's supposed to be, without ruining the story too much, he's basically Harry's first friend, isn't he? Obviously, Ron and Hermione are his best friends, but Hagrid is the first person that really shows him love and who really genuinely loves him. And I just don't buy that from this Nick Frost little snippet that we've got here. I just don't. It's just not Robbie Carlyle.
They stood up for what they believed was right. The next time I see you, we'll be in Hogwarts.
I mean, it's just a line. I don't think that line is in the book. It just seems like a really stupid line. I don't know. This is obviously going to be a very important scene. He's going to meet his best friend Ron for the first time. I don't know. I'll talk a little bit more about the cinematography in a bit. I'll save it.
Mr. Potter.
I
think we've just got our first look at Hermione there. I just don't think she looks like Hermione. As much as I don't really like I don't really like Emma Watson, the kind of, not person she became or whatever, but as much as I don't really like her, I think you can't deny that she looked like Hermione. I don't think this little girl looks like Hermione. I do think this Harry is kind of what I would expect to see from Harry, and this definitely looks like Ron. But for me, I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't look like Hermione.
I think we can expect great things from you. Let's see who you are.
Yeah. I think the castle looks like a castle. And this is obviously some herbology classroom, a greenhouse or whatever. Yeah, fine.
Are you really Harry Potter?
Right, yeah. The thing is, it's going to be insufferably... The accents are going to be insufferable, aren't they? Are you really Harry Potter? So, yeah, there's that to look forward to. Obviously, we got our first glimpse at Snape. And I'm not going to state the obvious. I'm not going to repeat what is being repeated a lot, because people have just said it to death and it's pretty obvious. But my take on that is it's just as egregious as John Wayne playing Genghis Khan. You know, it's like, why?
Tempting.
Tempting but unwise, my brother.
I just think it's going to be disappointing. And my main real gripe, I don't think there's any more. No, there's no more. My main real gripe with all of it is the same thing I said in my Frankenstein review, and it's just, it looks so real. Do you know what I mean? Like, it looks too true to life, which is going to be a bit of a weird criticism for, you know, someone that works with cameras and whatnot, such as myself, to have. But I just think it looks too real, and I don't get a real sense of magic and wonder from the trailer. It feels very cold and just not very Harry Potterish. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's even, you know, it's not a word, but you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's got any real kind of spirit to it. It feels really soulless. And I think it really suffers from, as all modern media does, from just a lack of film stock, a lack of, you know, almost film grain, you know, like to remind you that this is almost to remind us like this is a film, or this is something that you're watching as a piece of media. And I think that's, you know, I have an idea to make a film about, or make a video about how CGI is kind of melting our brains and stuff, and how pencil animations were much more interesting and much more inspiring. And I look at this and I just think, yeah, I mean, I look at it and I think, oh yeah, like nice colours and contrast, and the dynamic range and all that nonsense that we talk about, you know, in the filmmaking fraternity. But I just think it looks soulless. And I'm just looking at the kind of way that people are dressing, and it doesn't really feel like they're sort of modern, dressed too modernly. So I'm wondering if they're going to set this in the 90s, which is when the books sort of came out, which I haven't really heard anyone talk about. I'm not really sure when they're going to, you know, if there's going to be a setting, or if they're going to kind of just leave it up to the interpretation of, you know, whoever the viewer, whenever the viewer wants to put it, like sort of in their mind. But it just looks very soulless. It looks very real, if you know what I mean. Like I think they're trying to overstate that it's reality, when really this is a fun tale about kids learning to be wizards, living in a dark world, don't get me wrong, but that darkness comes from a battle between good and evil, not, you know, the harshness of reality. If there's anything that we need, you know, in this life at the minute, it's an escape from reality. And I'm not sure that HBO's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is going to be able to provide it. I just think it's going to be soulless. I'm not sure what else to say about it, so I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching.